I'm Alyssa McEwen. I'm the General Manager of Trades Recognition Australia, which is part of the Department of Innovation. Trades Recognition Australia does skills assessments primarily for migration purposes, but also for licensing purposes. My role as the leader of Trades Recognition Australia is to manage the processes overall and make sure that they are aligned with the requirements of the Department of Migration, but also in line with what the expectations are of licensing bodies and also industry more generally.
My name's Richard Harvey. I am the HR manager here at Repower Australia. Repower Australia is essentially a provider of wind farms. We manufacture wind turbines overseas, and we install them here in Australia as part of complete turnkey power station delivery projects.
My name is Mark Callaghan. I'm the CEO of World Skills Australia. As CEO, I head up the organisation, and from a paid staff perspective, it's quite a small organisation. We've only got 9 full-time staff on board, but we are very reliant on a large volunteer workforce. We've probably got about 4,000 or 4,500 volunteers throughout the organisation.
My name's Sue Sizer, and I'm a Compliance Officer with Energy Safe Victoria. My background is I'm an A-grade electrician, and I'm a licensed electrical inspector within the state of Victoria as well. I've also spent 10 years working in the TAFE system as a trade teacher for electricians, and I moved to Energy Safe Victoria around about 18 months ago.
I'm the policy advisor at the Australian Pipeline Industry Association, so it's my role to coordinate the pipeline owners and operators in responding to government policy initiatives and whatever the legislative requirements are of the day. The industry will usually have a position that needs to be articulated to government, and it's my job to coordinate them and put that down in writing and represent them to government. I'm looking to get a couple of things out of the conference. I understand I'm one of the only speakers talking about the gas industry at the conference, so a real big focus for me will be to get everyone else there thinking about gas, and particularly what they might be able to do for the gas industry. I know it's not just people who need training, it's also training providers at the conference, so hopefully we can get some more training providers interested in providing services to the gas industry.
Well, first and foremost, I hope that everyone who goes to the conference and goes to the presentation really gets a better understanding of what World Skills Australia is all about. I think that's one of our greatest challenges, is that we often get referred to as the world's best kept secret. I don't want us to be a secret. I want everyone to know what World Skills is all about, because at the end of the day, we're about promoting the opportunities that are available via vocational education and training. And it's something that we can only do in partnership with everyone involved in the training sector, whether it's the employers, industry skills councils, training organisations. We need everyone to be on board with this.
I'm hoping that we get a number of the RTOs quite interested in delivering the new qualifications that we've developed. I'm hoping that people can just come away a little bit more engaged with the wind industry. I want it to be part of the Australian electricity generation kind of training landscape, and perhaps also might just take a bit of time perhaps to talk about a myth or two that people might have about this industry.
What I'd like to talk about in my speech is the role of skilled migration in the Australian economy and in the Australian workforce, some of its limitations and challenges, and how we try to work to ensure that the skills we're getting from people who are coming from offshore are what's really needed within the Australian workforce.
At the conference, I'll be presenting on a national assessment for the electrician's qualification. At the moment, we have a national training package. We already have national recognition of licences across the state, and with national licensing on the horizon, it makes sense to have a nationally consistent assessment for that electrician's qualification. That will give both the regulators, the licensing authorities, together with industry and the general public, the confidence that an electrician being awarded the qualification and receiving a licence across Australia has reached the same benchmark. I have been doing some work with EOS and with the assessment provider, VetAssess, in formulating the assessment.
At the conference, I really hope to be able to promote some of the young champions that come through our competition process. What we try to do is to promote these young people as role models, people who other young Australians can really look up to, can aspire to, and hopefully see what opportunities are out there in various skills and trade occupations. So we'll be looking at a couple of different role models. We currently have the world's best electrician, for instance, a young man by the name of Benjamin Hooton, won gold medal at the 41st World Skills Competition in London last year. And so I'll hopefully be presenting his story, his journey, and I guess showing everyone at the conference the outcomes of all of the training and everything that everyone within the industry skills councils and employers and everyone involved.
At the conference, I'll be presenting on the development of wind industry and particularly wind service and maintenance technician training qualifications. So I have been working with EOS and the rest of the industry over the past couple of years to develop a career pathway for wind technicians that is part of the national system. This has been driven by the fact that there is no infrastructure in Australia for wind energy or wind technician training, and this is very much a growth industry here.
I'm going to be presenting on the gas industry in Australia, and it's on the surface it looks a lot like the electricity industry, and I know EOS's focus has traditionally been on the electricity industry, given it's a much bigger employer than the gas industry and some of the other utilities. So we have a gas transmission sector, a gas distribution sector and a gas retail sector that all have their partners in the electricity sector, but the further you get away from a home, the more different the gas industry is to the electricity sector. So I'll be looking to focus on some of the differences that are between gas and electricity, why there are those differences, and why that makes things a bit different, particularly from a training and workforce perspective.
There's obviously great networking at these conferences for people who do work in the generation training landscape. I hope to talk to others about their experiences using the package to make sure that that Repower Australia particularly, but also others in the wind industry, can get the maximum benefit they can out of these new qualifications.